evening. I won't whistle again this time. Alright, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. You made my dreams come true by giving us the big ballroom again because we had enough people register for tonight's event. So thank you for the crowd. Social media posts trying to encourage people to register last minute. I think we had like 5 or 6 people decide today that they were going to join us. So we love a crowd. We love being at 80 people in a room consistently the last couple of months. And so thank you for that, because this is a wonderful room to fill with so much networking and interesting conversations. So thank you all for being here. I'm really excited. It is Women History Month, and it is our tradition to have a Women in Tech panel for Women in History Month. It is also, this week was Equal Pay Day on March 12th. Which is the date in which a woman has to work into this year to be paid the same as a man who was finished working last year, December 31st. And it is Pie Day. Yay. So thank you, Jerome, for giving us this fabulous pie. We're going to put it here. This is not a pie in the face kind of event. I know you were thinking that, but we will let you, yes, eat the pie for procuring the pie. So happy Pie Day. A little housekeeping. Oh, I totally walked off the screen. We have news. So as of March 1st of this month, AITP is again a national association and organization. We have 11 cities. Thank you. Yeah. So we're really excited. This has been labor over the past year to get us back together. We are now 11 cities strong. The 10 cities that have an active AITP chapter include some of your favorite destinations like Akron, Ohio, Omaha, Nebraska, Northeast Wisconsin, Wheeling, West Virginia, Lehigh Valley, PA, and Jackson, but also Chicago and LA and Atlanta. So not making fun, tons of new cities. So if you have colleagues in different cities that are on this list, or if you're traveling for fun and you want to join an AITP meeting and catch an AITP meeting in another city, we are now 11 cities strong. The fun fact is, I think we've told you before at some of our end of year celebrations, our RTP chapter is a little over 40 years old. I think maybe 44 or 45 years old now. 1952. Our chapter? I lied. So our chapter, 1952 is way older than me. But we were originally founded in 1949. The Chicago chapter was the first chapter for AITP. So we were shortly behind that. We're one of the OG chapters then. And AITP has been rebranded several times throughout our history and merged with a couple of other great IT associations. We were as large as 62 chapters across the United States at one point. And then in 2017, some of us have been on the board that long. We got purchased by CompTIA, which is an IT association, IT certification company. We then separated from them back in 2022. And so from 2022 until today, we have been trying to realign and reform as our original independence and AITP. So we got to keep our brand, yay, and we have history and heritage, and now we are a national association. So that's my news. Also, exciting new perks. Our CRM that we use is called Wild Apricot, and they have a job board. A lot of people come here because they are looking for a new job opportunity and looking to network. We also have a lot of staffing partners that come here. So we decided that we would leverage this service within our CRM, and we are going to be launching our first job board on April 1st. I'm spearheading this project because I have a background in recruiting. So this is an opportunity and a perk for our members and groups to post jobs, to engage our network, and for our job seekers in our membership to find opportunities. So if you are interested as a employer that is hiring, that has jobs that you would like to post, feel free to email me, president at AITP, that's supposed to be a period, .org. I don't have someone that edits my slides still. So, bear with me on that one. But job board, coming soon. And this is our fabulous board. You've met most of us. It takes a village, like I say. I'm surrounded by brilliant, hardworking, talented volunteers that pull this off for us. We have great programming, and I couldn't do it without each and every one of these fabulous people that you see here on my board. Make a friend. And our MAC is our advisory board. We meet twice a year. We're meeting next Friday for advice on speakers, programs, topics, tech trends, recommendations, just to see if we're doing what we said we would do, and adhering to our mission and vision, and getting great feedback from this lovely group. Also, this group will be hosting tables at our June meeting, which will be MAC mentorship. So picture this. At each of these tables, I honestly don't know where I can come up with this. At each of these tables, we will have one of these CIOs with a topic of interest that they're willing to discuss, and you will have a chance to mentor, speed network, and move between tables at different seats with different CIOs. That will be our June programming. Ooh, cool. I know. This is our programming list. We are here tonight for Women in Tech. Next month is Human-Centered Design back here at NC State. May is a special event. This is our 3rd annual T-TAC-SIM AITP collaboration event. This one will be a Wednesday, May 15th. It will be at Sheridan Imperial, not Briar Creek Country Club. And it is a member-only event. What does that mean? Those of you that are guests today, I'm going to have a slide. You're going to find out how to enroll as a member, and you're going to enroll as a member before May 15th so that you can come to this event, because there will be a lot of amazing people, and you'll have exposure to 3 groups, not just one. I think, I'm looking at Annabelle and Suzanne. Did you join last year around this time in order to become a member to come to these events?
Yes.
In May?
Specifically for that event.
And then did you get hooked and stay and continue to come back?
I got a 3-month membership, and then I bought a year after the 3 months was up. But that was my
So if you want references, talk to me. And then I talked to you about June. So June 13th is back here. It's the MAC Mentorship Speed Networking Table event. That's a really cool, unique program. And then July is always our summer social. Location TBD. I heard Clouds Brewery downtown is closing. We're really sad about that. We've had a lot of fun there. I know. I didn't tell them to close. Apparently our 2 events twice a year does not keep them afloat. But we're going to find a place. We're going to have a fun social on July 11th. And welcome to our new members. If you see your name on the list and you want to raise your hand, Wayne, I'm not going to call you out. I know you are here. I saw you.
I'm not going to call you up.
Oh, he's like, oh, Wayne. Sorry, it just happened to be one of the names on my list when you walked in. It was perfect timing. These are our new members that have joined in the last 30 days. We hope that you feel welcomed. If it was your first time and you joined, we hope that you make some new friends and new connections. All right, this was the slide that, for those of you that are guests today, you want to pay attention to for 2 reasons. Number 1, our prices are increasing as of April 1st. Today is March 14th. Pi Day. So you have 2 weeks to join as a member in the old annual membership pricing before our prices go up as of April 1st. Set your calendars. Also, there's an option to still join as a quarterly member, which is kind of like a buy 2, get 1 free If you're just trying before you want to commit, if you're just trying to still explore, if you're new to the job seeker market and really don't know if this is for you, $90 for the quarterly membership. Both of those will get you your ticket to May 15th. What do our membership dues cover? All of this, 12 times a year, networking, food, and entertainment. From our speakers. I don't know.
And a comedy show.
Group membership. We have a lot of companies that have partnered with us, and they use this as a great opportunity to bring colleagues for different events. Candle Science is one of those tonight. They brought a new face. Lindsay got to come and check us out.
Not to call me out.
This is the risk that you take when you meet me and have a conversation with me. So this is the company level membership. It includes 5 passes to each of our events. It's a great way to recognize high achievers or team members, or to get additional continuous learning and training for the different topics. If we have a security topic or an AI topic that meets the needs of someone on your team. These are the perks. This is the membership. And you can talk to Brooke, our fabulous membership director in the back. I'm almost done, I promise. I know this is really long. It doesn't usually take this long. Reminders to help us out so we can always get this big room is RSVP early. We will be opening up April 11th page tonight for you to start registering, so you don't have to wait until you get our nice email reminders. But that helps us get an accurate head count. It helps us with the food. It helps us with the seats and the planning, and it helps us get the big room. Also, we get a lot of emails of people asking how do they bring a guest. Dee here as a guest, and we got an email, right? And so how do we add someone as their guest if they can't come? One of the benefits of having a membership is you can proxy your seat. So you can send someone that might want to come to the event because it's the speaker or the topic if you're unable to attend. This is how you do it. Sponsorship, this is how we do fun things like July social, December end of year party, have pie, things that are extra. There's different levels of sponsorship to fit different companies' needs depending on what you're looking to get out of that. Brooke is really collaborative and supportive and likes to talk to companies and find out what they're looking to get out of it, how they want to spend their marketing dollars, why they're interested in our organization. We have lots of different ways at lots of different levels to help you spend your marketing dollars wisely with us. And Corsica is our new sponsor. Do we have Corsica in the room? Thank you, Corsica. Good. Okay, we're here. We did it. All right, so these are our fabulous women in tech panelists and speakers tonight. Thank you, ladies, for joining us this evening and sharing your time and expertise with us in celebrating Women in History Month. I am done. My job is done. I'm going to hand this to you. All right, off you go.
So I am super honored to be here for amazing women in technology. And I know that you guys are really going to benefit from what you learned from them tonight. So we've got Nicole, Heather, Lauren, and Britt. And we're going to go through a series of questions. And again, just looking forward to hearing their answers. And so as we kick it off, I'd like for each of you ladies to introduce yourself and tell us what your dream job was when you were a child. Because I'm guessing it might not have been in technology. Right, Nicole,
Sure. Can y'all hear me without a mic?
This is very important stuff. My dream job when I was a child is I wanted to be Vanna White. And I'm still waiting for that job to open. There you have it. I'm not sure I had a concept of what a job was when I was young, but I loved all the neighborhood cats. I still do. I wanted to be a veterinarian, so no aptitude for science.
I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'm taking a very loose definition. I'm taking a very loose definition of the word child. So when I was a older kid, I really wanted to be a geneticist. That was my like big passionate area. And then I fell in love with education and didn't do that.
Hey everyone, my name is Brett Sylvester and I am the Director of IT and Digital Transformation for Brady. So as part of that role, I think everybody is probably already familiar with what I do in that sense. But when I was growing up, I really wanted to be a musician. And I was pretty logical and reasonable as a kid though, as I still am today. And I came to find that, well, that might not pan out if I'm not exactly, the best musician in the world. The odds are low, right? So then I decided, okay, well, it's got, oh, there we go. And then I decided I wanted to be an architect.
All right. Thank you very much. So thanks for the introductions. We're trying to figure out the mics up here. They're not turning off and on like we anticipated, so maybe we'll just use one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I know my speech is too long.
It's all good. It's all good. So again, thanks for the introductions and very interesting to learn what you ladies might have thought you'd be and not in IT. So what inspired you to pursue a career in technology? Brett, would you kick us off on that?
So even at a young age, I'm an extremely analytical person, right? I love problem solving. I love a good challenge. Fun fact about me, I am absolutely obsessed with learning. I have an incredible amount of browser tabs on my phone at all times because I'm constantly researching an incredible amount of stuff. I don't know how healthy that is, but it is a fact about me. So, obviously there's no shortage of that at all in IT because it's changing at a rapid pace. I was just talking with someone about this earlier, actually. And, at a really young age, I was fortunate enough to grow up during a time where a home computer was a staple in the house, right? It's the Windows 95 era for those, to date myself. So as I got older, that really began to transition into, all right, I really want to know what's inside this thing, and I want to understand how it works, and really get into it. And I just continued to dive deeper and deeper into that, and it just became a passion for me. And it really manifested into me essentially being the resident help desk for my family, which I think probably all of us here can probably relate to now today, because I still am, like most of you probably are. So I just knew technology was for me, and I wanted it to always be a really big part of my life in some form.
Yeah, for me, my background was primarily in education. So I spent years working in science museums, a very short stint as a middle school science teacher, and I loved sharing knowledge and I loved fostering growth in others. And my time at science museums was really concentrated in teaching engineering. My title was Tinkering and Technology. That's what I got to do. So I spent all of this time, teaching kids how to code with like visual coding languages and working with these really cool, awesome Lego sets and really fun toys and tools for learning. And like many people, got way burnt out of nonprofit education. And it was not sustainable for my goals in my life. And so it was like, well, what pivot can I make? What change can I make? It's like, but I love what I do. I just can't do it anymore. So I made the switch to working with those tools and getting to like actually help create and make the things that were being used for learning instead of teaching with them. So I got to transition into that, ed tech side of education and still have an impact, still be present, but in a way that was sustainable for my life. And it's been a really wonderful transition.
So, there was no internet. let's just start there. There was no internet when I was in college. So I kind of feel like it was like a nice accident that I am where I am, because I do very much love my job. I think it was my second job out of college when this thing called the internet kind of came around, and we had, you're all old, y'all understand, so we have like these things called listservs and things. And I was actually doing sales and marketing at the time, and I made myself an opportunity to figure out web design. And for me, it was this kind of perfect match of kind of art and science. It was very bad. It was that like right-hand side navigation banner on the top. And I went back to school now this is like a million years ago. There was two colleges in the United States that had a webmaster certificate, which I still have full. So I did that, and it really, it kind of took off from there. I learned how to market and sell on the internet, and then went pretty much as far as I could into web development and coding, and then said, for everyone's benefit, you need to stop. And so I moved to the analyst project management side and moved on from there. But it's been a crazy ride. Like anyone that's my age, just seeing the world change in a space that my kids know no different. Like it's just fascinating. So I'm very fortunate. I love what I do, and I'm glad for the crazy ride that I took in investing in myself to get where I am. So.
All right, thank you. So next question, how do you empower yourself and women around you? Heather.
So I gave this question quite a bit of thought because I struggle with the fact that we have to empower women. So question for a question is why? Like, why do we have to empower women? Which is really kind of putting them, thank you. So we'll leave that one there, but think about that for yourselves and your organizations and even your life. And so ideally, we are all naturally empowered, which is really just kind of giving yourself that right and that confidence to make choices and have kind of autonomy. But even though I'm challenging why we have to do it at all, the question is how do I empower myself and others? I'm not great at empowering myself, but it is easy to empower others. It's easier to give advice and kind of take your own sometimes, and so that's really where I focus empowerment and supporting other women. The way I do, I hype them up, right? Like there's no reason we should have to be empowered. So if you have some perceived shortcoming or issue or whatever that you need help with, come talk to me, I'll hype you up because you deserve to have that autonomy, those rights in life, those choices, that direction, the drive, all of the things that got all of us here, all of you where you are. We shouldn't, in theory, be second guessing ourselves. So I'll be your hype person. And then for myself, it comes back around. So I just kind of surround myself with folks who have that same kind of mindset. When I have, issues, questions, concerns, or feeling, imposter syndrome, whatever you want to call it, lack of confidence, I go to those folks who can kind of give that back to me.
So I would agree. I also struggle with the how to empower myself piece. And yeah, one of the ways that I have found that it's helped me incredibly is to give voice to my goals and to ensure that I am on track to them. So when I first made the switch into software engineering, I told my supervisor, the imposter syndrome is very real. I want to have quarterly check-ins outside of our one-on-ones that are designated time to talk about big career goals, to make sure am I building the skills that I need to get to these points, and am I getting enough opportunity to build and demonstrate those skills? Because a lot of work is being proactive, right? You're not necessarily going to be handed opportunities to build your career. You need to ask for them. And that has really helped me. I still do it now, though not quarterly anymore with my supervisor, but I like to take that designated time to really have those check-ins so that I can be crystal clear about this is what I want, this is where I want to go, this is when I want to get there, so help me on that path. And that has helped me tremendously. And so then I do the same for others. I check in with my colleagues, men and women. I check in with everybody that I work with. I share the information that I have been given on, what are the goals. If you want to hit this same job that I'm in, here are the things that I did to get there. Maybe it'll be helpful for you. When I was making my transition, even now, there are so many people who supported me. So many people who provided resume feedback, feedback on my portfolio, the chance to just bounce career path options off of them, to weigh career opportunities with them. And so every door that has been opened for me, I open for another person. I give my time freely because that time is given to me freely, and I want to continue that and ensure that anybody who is looking for that advice and that sounding board and that chance to be, cheerleaded and shored up a little bit, has that opportunity too.
All right, thanks, great answers. All right, next question. How do you set boundaries without feeling guilty?
This one's fun, right? So, this is admittedly one that I still struggle with myself. But I think I have come up, I think I've come up with a mechanism though to at least minimize that guilt when it does creep up. So to me, self-awareness is all about, it's really all about, boundaries. Setting boundaries is all about self-awareness at the end of the day. And that means, understanding how much you can handle, understanding your limits. And I feel like, I think there's a lot of us out there that some feel like if we set a boundary, especially in a professional environment, that perhaps we're not committed to our work, or maybe we're showing a sign of weakness. And to be honest with you, I think it's the exact opposite. And the reason I think that is because we're setting those boundaries because we do care. And we want to bring our best every time, right? And the only way that we can really do that is to have enough fuel in the tank to deliver it. And, that applies in both our personal and our professional lives, because it's really important, I think, to remember that our actions really impact those around us, including, again, personal and professional, whether it's your colleagues at work, team members, or it's your family and your friends at home. And setting those boundaries helps them too. It benefits them. And so I think when you kind of put those data points together and you reason it and you think, well, you kind of realize, hey, the guilt naturally just begins to fade away because setting those boundaries is an apparent, obvious strategy that you have to use in order to be able to give your best and give everything your all on all fronts. And I think that's what we all want to do at the end of the day.
So, setting boundaries without guilt. The honest answer is I don't. I do feel guilty. You can't necessarily escape that emotion, but that emotion doesn't change the boundary and it doesn't change the need. So when I'm creating that boundary and I feel that guilt setting in, the first thing I do is acknowledge it, like I'm feeling that way. Ignoring it's not going to make it go away. And I look at why do I feel guilty. I have a distinct memory of the first time I turned off email for work on my phone, and that just felt like such a you can't do that thing. And it's like, but I'm not present in my life because I'm constantly making myself available to other people. And it's like, why do I feel guilty about being more present in my life? It's like, well, I feel like I'm not helping my coworkers as quickly as I could. It's like, okay, but they also don't need that answer at 7 p.m. They don't need it till the next day. When there's something really urgent, that's why you have on-call schedules. That's why you have ways to escalate real, true, the building's on fire kind of problems. Most of what you're dealing with are not that. And so, I do have Slack on my phone, but it's like I have my notifications muted so nothing comes through after 5 p.m. And again, it's that notion of I want to be present. I like having, that portable access because that's the world that we live in, and I like being able to be a little nomadic and have the ease of information and communication without it becoming I'm constantly available. And so that practice of being able to think about, why am I guilty? A lot of it is self-imposed, and so being able to let go of that expectation. And when I still struggle, I'll flip it around. If my coworker, who I love and respect dearly, did the same thing, how would I feel? It's like, I wouldn't care at all. I wouldn't notice. It wouldn't matter at all. It wouldn't cross my radar. It's like, okay, then I need to release this guilt, set this boundary, and keep going. And so that's the trick side of taking on.
All right. Next question. How did gender balance and a diverse workforce contribute to the success of an organization?
I'll talk about the other questions first. I did actually want to make a point on the boundaries because I was terrible at it. If anyone in here is a Gen X, there's this whole study, like, we're workhorses, like, it's what we do. That's where we actually find our success. Our predecessors, moms and dads, their big thing was getting a house. That was what meant for them. The younger generations, if we don't adapt with the boundaries, we're going to lose them because they don't work the same way. They're actually not going to work past 5. If you have kids those age, you'll see it. So I think it's interesting when we think about boundaries. It's also going to be about figuring out how to work with the different generations, which I think is going to become the biggest challenge for all of us, especially for my generation. All right, what was the question? The other question? Oh, diverse workforce. Yeah. Listen, I mean, I think it seems like a no-brainer. We all have different perspectives. I don't know that it's just a gender thing. I think it's people that come from all different facets of life. I think are important, especially if you think about designing products and the way different people think. I have opinions on some things. I want people to challenge me. I think the only way to get better is if you have a diverse set of thinking. So I strongly encourage people to come in with their views and don't be afraid. Like I actually like to debate with people that I don't necessarily agree with, but they really believe in what they're saying, right? I think it's fascinating because we all have these strong views, but I'm like, all right, you like really convinced us, which is great because I think if we don't have that diverse thinking, we're just never going to get better. We're never going to work better together. And quite honestly, the world's just not going to be a better place. So there's that.
So unfortunately, my answer is not different. It's just question for a question, why not? I mean, why not diversity? Why don't, if we're all the same, think the same, solving problems the same, it'd be a very boring world without growth or evolution. And our products, our companies, our personal lives. I think of all the times that I've argued or had challenging conversations that I wasn't happy with, quite frankly, but I left thinking differently. And then I took that information to the next problem or the next situation, and I had learned something from it. And I still may not have agreed, but I learned a new perspective, a new process, maybe even an ally in a different situation. So there's too much to gain from differences and the growth that comes with it.
All right, great answers, ladies. All right, last question. When it comes to progressing in a leadership role, what are the most important traits? And can you give one piece of advice? Starting with other
So I think there are a lot of traits that benefit you as a leader, right? But there are 2 specifically that really stand out to me that I think really set you apart from being just a manager versus a leader, right? And one of those is endless curiosity and willingness to always be learning, especially again in our field, right? Constantly changing. And also to recognize it's okay to not have all the answers all the time, right? That's why we have teams, otherwise I wouldn't. So again, okay to not have those answers, but you have to be willing to find them. That's the key. And then the other one to me, and this is admittedly simplistic, and I know we've all heard it probably a million times, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Communication. That is such a major, major trait that you've got to master, especially in our field when we speak at technical level, and especially with our teams very frequently. It's really important to be able to translate that for non-technical folks who are, any level of the organization. And ultimately, there is no other way to build trust, to build followership, and to build influence in the organization, which is what you really need as a leader without mastering communication. And then as far as advice to, I think advice to the young female was yeah. So to go into technology, do it, hands down. That's my advice. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. Especially don't let yourself tell you that. Don't put that boundary on yourself. That is so important. And also the other point I wanted to make was if you are someone who does not have a traditional education, for example, computer science degree, you are looking at a testament of someone who has a marketing degree and ended up as an IT director. Ended up finding my way back. I actually started out as a computer science major, admittedly in college initially, and at that point in my life, I just did not have the level of confidence that I needed, and I backed out of it, and luckily I found my way back to where I was supposed to be all along, where my passion was with IT and technology. So yeah, do it.
I have a biased answer on do you want to answer this one too? A biased answer on leadership because it's what I look for and it's what I do as a leader. So I think for me there's two traits. One is it actually has two parts. Being service oriented and then more specifically kind of being a shield. So there's a lot of bureaucracy when you get to a certain level in your career, right? I think we all know that. I think that it becomes a barrier for colleagues and team members and peers to do their best. And so for me in the work that I do, I've always been a shield for that. I kind of take the bureaucracy, I filter it, solve those problems, and I create an environment where they can go do what they want to do, what they need to do, what they are here to do to the best of their abilities. And along those lines, it's very service-oriented mindset for me, but also what else do they need to do to be their best? How can I help? How can I support and hype up my team, whether they're direct or indirect? And the other one is being decisive. There's so much indecision in leadership and organizations. I think it's based on fear, like, oh God, what if we do the wrong thing? And then even in IT, we're analytical by nature. Analysis paralysis, we're familiar with all of these things. Make a decision, own it, figure out what the outcome is, and pivot. Either it's a success or it's a failure. If it's failure, you redirect, but make a decision and just keep the ball rolling. I value that in leadership more than anything. Young women considering a career in IT, same, just do it. Don't get in your own way at all. And I also have I'm not IT by trade. My entire career has been IT. It's not by trade. It's I'm really honest, not by love either. Like I'm not a techie. I'm not, hands-on keyboards, but I love being a benefactor of like the automagic that happens in IT. So just there's a place for everyone, really. So do it. Find your niche. It's not all purely technical. I do program and project management, leadership. I know enough to get the job done. I'm not the expert, but there are a lot of areas for folks to become experts or progress in a generalist role, but there's something out there for everyone.
Sure. I like some really good answers. What's left? So a couple things for me, and I've had to really work at this. I'm really throwing myself in the bus by saying it too, is empathy. So really worked hard on empathy. I also think being a lifelong learner and a listener. A lot of times we need our leaders to listen because we're not always right. We need to hear what other people are saying and invite them in the room. Like I want to step back and let somebody else step up. I think it's really important that you can recognize as a leader you need to step back and give up someone else chance to step up. I think that's a great sign of a leader. They don't need to lead all the time, every second of the day. I'm actually not going to talk about the game for sure. So you might talk about other women, bring up women. I have 3 sons. I have a 21, a 19, and I'm missing one, a 23-year-old. Don't tell them I forgot. And so I think about them all the time because I'm hoping this won't be a thing anymore, right? Like they see their mother in IG, they know that I'm a CIO. I think that younger generation doesn't see the difference. I really don't. Not the way I did growing up. I was that late 90s, early 2000s, I'm gonna be honest, it was a boys' club, right? It had some moments of challenge there. I don't think they see it. And I think the more they see us as role models, that they won't see the difference. So I'm hoping that this goes away, in the next 10 years, that it's men standing up here alongside women, and we're all just leaders.
Really thinking about these questions and being prepared and coming in to bring their insights to you guys tonight. And we have some key takeaways that you ladies shared. And I think some of these have already come across in your answers, but if there's anything else you want to add, I would just ask if anybody want to add anything there. You can just be honest with us around. Let me, add a little bit of context.
Yeah, for anyone who's not familiar with this is actually a mentor of mine that told me about this actually not that long ago, really, but it's something that rings in my head constantly. And it's really an animal behavior fact, really. But so buffalo actually turned towards the storm. They charged toward it. You guys have heard this, yes, well done. So to essentially minimize the impact of that storm, and essentially that's just a reminder to always be just taking things head on. Don't sit back, just go.
I love that. I'm from Buffalo, so that I'm going to know enough. And then at that, I'll just write, go Bills.
Is there any questions? Does anyone are we open to accepting questions?
Jerome has questions.
No, I haven't eaten the pie. So, for the men in the room who hear this, and maybe they have boys at home too, how can we be better allies and support women in IT?
Get out of our way.
No, I can elaborate, but I think it goes, sorry. It's a little more of the diversity mindset in that I think to support something that is foreign to you as it would be, you're not a woman, you have to think what it is like to be a woman and a woman in this field, a woman in this world. Go back to why do we have to empower ourselves? We really shouldn't have to. So how can you help change the game for us? But I think that is about shifting your mindset as well and getting really curious and being open and trying to understand. I think differences can be threatening. It's scary. And so thinking through that, even your own fears maybe, like, oh God, what if all the women take over? What's that gonna be like? Well, it might not be a bad thing. we need allies. So a little tongue in cheek, but seriously, you just have to challenge your own mindset and think of maybe things we haven't even thought of yet. We are all hyping ourselves up. We need support. How can you give it to us in a way that maybe we can't get it for ourselves?
And believe women when they tell you what their experiences are.
So I like, because what year did you change your major?
It was my sophomore year.
So for those that don't know, in college, anyone that's in a STEM program, women, the dropout rate to switch majors at sophomore year, it's incredible. It's over 50. It's incredibly high. And so I wanted to bring that up because I think that's a really, really good way to support young women. And so if you know anyone that's in like college age, or go talk to women, I'm actually going next Tuesday night at work with an organization called Rewriting the Code of Duke. And so I'm about to talk to their student athletes next Tuesday, but they have a tremendous time. It's gotten better, but with the imposter syndrome and not feeling like they're good enough. So they really need that encouragement at that age. Never mind getting out, like it needs to start in, probably middle school, but high school, but definitely college. And you can probably speak to that, and you experienced it, so.
I do. First, I'd like to say thank you, because as a woman in the field, I couldn't be better represented than with all of you there. Every single answer that you have given resonates very deeply, and I feel an immense sense of pride of having you there representing. I want to ask you very directly, because I consider myself a triple minority. One, because I'm a woman. Two, because I am a minority, brown, black woman. And three, because I'm an extrovert with a big mouth and or you. So I'd like to ask you, what are you personally doing to widen the door, to make a window and break that wall so that women like myself, so that women like myself can find a door to get my resume on your table?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, and actually was going to be part of my answer to Jerome's as well, is about that proactive nature. So like the company that I'm at, we were acquired a little over a year ago, and the very first thing that I did was try to look up, what do our diversity statistics look like? How many women are there in the engineering team? How many women on the engineering team are at a senior level or higher? It was a disappointing number. It's getting better. And it's voicing that. But something that, men in the audience can do is not wait for us to point out that we're not there, because that goes just beyond women, right? Like, we're education software and in structure. Accessibility is a huge, huge part of software. And so you need to have disabled voices. You need to have people who actually need assistive technologies to use your software, to test your software. Because you would be surprised at how easy it is to think like, well, it's good enough. It's not though. It's not a great experience. And you need to have those real lived experiences present. So yeah, not waiting for us to point that out. And the more that we can voice that to our leadership, particularly, I'm at a senior engineer level. I lead a squad of people. I'm at a point where I have some level of influence. I feel confident using my voice to articulate things that maybe aren't welcome criticisms, because the women who are under me don't have that same level of influence yet. They also probably feel more uncertain about their position. It's hard to risk your position. And so the higher you get, the more that you can use your voice to help point out those inequities and keep the accountability for change. Like, it's not enough that, I looked it up when we first got acquired. It's been repeated conversations. The last one was like 2 weeks ago. What's the needle looking like? How are we actually promoting this? It's not enough just to say, like, we know we have this problem. Okay, well, what steps are we taking? And so really keeping that present so that it can't just fall into the background.
We can hear you. Yeah,
Tell me all about it.
Yeah. Well, what I have is not a follow-up question for you, but actually an answer for Jerome from my perspective, and not just Jerome, every single one of the men in this room. When I started,
You need the mic.
So while I'm not a panelist, when I started my current role, which is an executive role, I got a lot of one-on-one introductions with other executives at my organization. And every single one of the men always asked me, what can I do to help you and support you? I was like, I'm so happy you gave me this question, because what I need is for you to help me break the code. And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, you're a man and you're white. You have the complexion for the protection. You have a language that I don't know. You are able to say things that I could never voice out loud because I'm not allowed. And what I need is for you to teach me your ways. Give me the formula. How can I express my views and be effective and also be assertive without being pinned as the angry black woman in the room?
They all say that they were definitely available and cancel every single one of the one-on-ones I requested after that.
Okay, we have time for one more question, but I have to run that mic to you. I mean, and walk carefully and deal with no more questions, are we good?
No, I just have one quick response, sorry. In this scenario, it's not uncommon, right, which is unfortunate, it's not uncommon. I appreciate you sharing that with all of us. A room full of predominantly men. This is a very diverse group, which is why I love AITP, but still predominantly men. I would challenge even that narrative or that experience because I do think that women are trying to crack the code. We're trying to crack in. Not a person of color, but opinionated. I don't stop the fight, right? You fight the good fight. A woman, all of these things, right? I don't speak golf. I don't speak sports. I don't speak, all of these things that there's a common language that men have that I don't have. I think we should change the language. I don't want to learn the language of men in charge. I want to level everything so that we share a common language. And I think that's the conversation we need to have. How can we teach each other?
I offered one more run across the room.
It's like slow-mo music. I need to cue the music.
You're doing great. So not a question, but more of a comment to to the same point that everybody else is making. I think innovation happens when we change our processes and the way in which we look at this whole problem, if you will. The more that we sort of draw that line and make a difference, the more there will be a perpetuating problem to be solved, right? So when you get a resume across your desk, and this is going to be a little bit weird, right? I want you to change the name at the top. I want you to put a sticky note over the top. I want you to ignore or filter those things for the hiring panel that you have at your organization, right? Because 9 times out of 10, it's a panel of 6 to 8 people that sit and make a decision about whether or not we're hiring this person. It's not just one entity, right? And take the name off of the top of it. Change the voice if you have to, right? Have a conversation over the phone with potential hires as opposed to, a video call, right? I do think that in person is better than over the internet. I do think that there's something to be said for presence and delivery and a person's personality, everything else that they bring to a position outside of their resume, right? So I'm not saying just hire based off the resume and the experience, but I am saying take male, female out of the game. Take all those other sort of factors that we use out of the equation and see what happens.
All right, awesome. Thank you all very, 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 very much. This is a topic near and dear to my heart. I have a lot of opinions about as well. And the one thing I would add to what everyone said, plus I love the Buffalo mindset now, totally, is reverberation. So what I found worked best when I was in a leadership position in a room is if another person after I spoke said, Kate, that was a great idea, and echoed that idea and added on to that idea, because then it's more likely that the rest of the room will listen. And so my male counterparts would actually re-emphasize my idea for me, and I found myself in the beginning of my leadership career at some companies pre-presenting ideas before going into the room to gain that executive buy-in from people so that they knew I was going to say that
and then they would help reverberate. But I think that, to Jerome's point, would be my recommendation of how I'm able to help. And also, Rich knows this about me. I built my own personal board of advisors and mentors when I first moved into leadership and felt that I was out of my league. And a lot of the people that I met and got advice from were men. So like there's room for men to be mentors to women in leadership. We need the ally and support. It's not just women mentoring other women, and it's finding people that can provide guidance and wisdom to you from their different perspectives. So, but thank you ladies very much. What I forgot to mention about you as speakers tonight is our gift to you is a 3-month membership to come back and visit us. May 15th special event. Yay! So, thank you all so much for coming. We had a lot of fun. I appreciate you spending your Pi Day with us. And I don't know if Jerome is going to share, but it depends on who gets up here first to share his pie.
Only ladies. No diversification.
University, Jerome.
We will see you next month, April 11th, here. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves, make friends and network, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you all.